Hello, and welcome back to From the Source podcast, episode 14. And today's going to be a really quick one because I can, and two, because we always talk about running, but we always talk about the positives. And today we're going to talk about maybe a slight negative or something that someone can turn into from a negative to a positive. So we're going to talk about why runners quit. Or why new runners quit, and literally blast over what some of the main reasons are why new runners quit, how to make sure you kind of don't quit if getting injured is your reason, how to kind of beat that initial boredom of running, which you'll go through when you're just starting off, trying to find your why to help you run more consistent so you don't quit, and then just a few tips to stay consistent, and those like 5 short talking points, and so we'll get right into it. But before we start, I actually just want to big up the run club that we've got going on through Strava, and currently we had, for the last, I think near enough since we started it, one person that's ran away with it, and it's kind of turned into a top 3 race every single week. So if competing is what you're after, then please join the run club. But if you're just wanting to see more people posting runs and get to know a few more people, then please join the run club. The link is in the bio or the YouTube video, depending on what platform you're watching this on. So why do runners quit, or new runners quit? Nearly 30%, I read some Runner's World Journal thing, nearly 30% of new runners will quit within 6 months. And the main reason for that is injury. And the main reason because of that is the actual running program that they start off in. And I've previously spoke about this on other weeks, in that today I want to be a runner, and today I want to be a fast marathon runner. So they just quickly jump on Google, and it's like advanced tier running program. And it's like, well, I'll just start that. And your first week, you're starting off at like 30, 40K, 50K probably. And you think, first few weeks is all right. And then all of a sudden you'll hit a wall and that injury will come. Your body's just like, what the hell's this? Never known this before. And apparently 40% of the dropouts of novice new runners is because of not doing the beginner training program when they first start. So your body just instantly get injured, you get little niggles or you get big niggles. So just, like I said, start slow, start on the most basics, and just get your body used to running first before you start battering it and wanting to run 100k ultra night marathons and stuff like that. And then some other reasons around it are lack of motivation, probably because you're looking at your running plan that's too advanced and you're getting absolutely hammered and you can't see any progress. Life and stress, life stress is a common one. Adding these new parts to your week and new running days and strength days and stuff, that can kind of get on top of you with work and stuff. And also I found like boredom. So this goes the other way in terms of getting the right running plan when you first start, the beginner one that isn't just slow zone 2, 5k, slow zone 2, 6k and stuff like that. It's not mixing it up with a few tempos and intervals. That'll definitely help. And not as common, but it's common in terms of social media and people now running because of social media. But then once they realise that kind of doesn't fit their lifestyle and they're just running to impress people on Instagram or randomly just join run clubs and stuff, they'll start to fall off because of that as well. So those are a few reasons, and I bet a few of those probably hit with people that have just started off running or are wanting to get into it, or maybe have come up with their own reasons before they've even started. But make sure you nail down that training program to start with. Don't go too big. It's not clever, and one day it'll turn around and bite you in the arse. So yeah, like I said, 30% of people drop out because of injury, and a few ways to stop the injury is progressing gradually in that training program. So like I said, 10%, add 10% of your run week on each week and increase your mileage that way. Make sure you're using proper footwear. I've literally just seen a kid running, not a kid, well, obviously I'm not old, but he's a lot younger than me, so he's a kid. He's running in Nike TNs, and anyone knows what they are. They're just stylish Nike shoes. They're not running shoes. They're classed as like sports shoes, but they're definitely not running shoes. So he's probably getting home now with really sore feet because his bottoms of his feet have just been absolutely pounded for however long he's ran for. So get proper footwear. That's a big one. I talk about that I'm running Hoka's. Got a nice thick spongy sole, and I think mine now are the Clifton 9s or Clifton 10s, I can't remember. Nice and spongy, great for everyday use and long runs. But you'll probably see a lot of people, which I'm still on the fence about whether I want to get them, with the Adidas Adizero Evo SLs, I think they are, which are ones that are like all white with the black stripes. You'll see everyone wearing them. But they're good shoes. Everyone I talk to about them says they're good shoes. You know, give them a try. I think they're about 100 quid or so. And include some strength training into, your training plan, which is a big one, which at the start I neglected and didn't do properly. And then it bites you in the arse. And I'm not saying going out there and squatting 100 kilos and stuff like that. I'm not saying that, but, isometric stuff, isolated stuff, just strengthen them joints and those muscles slightly. You don't need to go out there and get ridiculous mad DOMs and stuff. But those are probably a few things I'd start off with, like in how to prevent injury and make sure you stay running. Because like most injuries that new runners get, overuse injuries, which is like your shin splints, your runner's knee, pain at like the bottoms of your feet and stuff like that. It's because they're constantly trying to like go out all the time, because it's like, I must run to get better. I must be out 7 days a week, which is not the case. And it's also because you get the shin splints or the runner's knee because you've massively jumped the mileage. Your knees aren't used to it, joints aren't used to it, bloody brain's like, what is going on? So make sure you're not jumping up too much in your weekly mileage. Stick to 10%, 20% max. If you're trying to rush your program, you're starting your program too late, or, too close to that, say, marathon deadline that you want. Start it a bit sooner. Give yourself 20 weeks to do it rather than 16. It's only a month. It's not that bad, but that extra month will help your body so much more. And kind of it folds into beating the burnout that people go through. And I go through it. I did a run last week and I put a video up on the TikTok. And it was just like the worst run I've ever had. I was just knackered from work, knackered from doing the podcast, trying to run, trying to have a life, trying to see like family and friends and stuff. That week I was just done and I was completely burnt out. And that day I was going to do a long run and I think bailed at like 12 or 13k. And just realised anything I did more than that was just going to have more of a detrimental effect to me than anything else. So I called it a day, and I'd done 50 odd K that week as well. So, it's not like I'd sat on my arse. Overtraining will increase burnout. Constantly thinking about running all the time will contribute to burnout. So it's best to maybe change those routes. I'm getting the burnout again because of the routes around where I am. So I'm going to drive somewhere and run there. Your training styles, if you're doing a lot of zone 2s, they can be a bit boring, especially if you're just doing them on your own. So mix them up and maybe turn a zone 2 into like 2 interval sessions all in one, or get someone else to come along and decide the training for that night along the lines of intervals or something. Change your music. Don't listen to podcasts. Podcasts send me asleep. Listen to some heavy metal music, something different to what you've done. Just try and keep it fresh so you're enjoying it, because obviously if you're doing a 16, 20 week block, it's a lot. and it is draining. So you just got to find different ways to pick yourself up, buy yourself some new running shorts or buy them Adidas shoes, something just to keep you going, or get your mates to come along, or, your parents to jump on a bike and chat to you the whole way through. Just find things to switch it up and keep it enjoyable, and, avoid that burnout, which is psychological or it could be physical. It's entirely dependent on what you're doing more of that you shouldn't be doing. And along the lines of the psychological, you need to, I think, before you even start, find your why you are running. So I am currently running, which seems ages away. I want to train well for Manchester Marathon in April. That's my why. That is helping me drag me through it, but that is a long way in the distance. So my why currently is to just get quicker, or just feel fitter, or lower my zone 2 heart rate and stuff like that. You just need to find your why and stick to it and be consistent with it, because it will give you a better perspective and a better idea on why you actually are doing this. Because at the start, like I said, with social media, and people just run for social media, give it 3-4 months and they won't be running anymore if their why wasn't to be better at running, and if it was just to get more followers on TikTok or Instagram and stuff. And that's the same for just life in general. You'll burn out compared to someone who actually wants it, who actually is willing to do it. Yeah, it's all about, like, your personal growth and your fitness growth in terms of running, which will help you be consistent. And you can give yourself a bit of validation as you go in, like, on your why. If you, like I said, if I'm starting to get faster on my zone 2s, well, my heart rate's getting lower on zone 2s, or when I'm saying I'm going to go out for an hour run, it used to be 10k and now it's actually 12k. There's progress to it, and that all adds to that motivation, which will, like I said, stop me from feeling like I did last week on that run. And, 2 days after, once I had a little bit of a rest, I went back out and I was just absolutely fine. Felt like I was flying. And then now I sit here after going out for a run this morning, pissing rain, and it's just like, oh, my calves are sore. But tomorrow's a day off, and, you need them. But at the end of the day, I think you just need to listen to your body. And with that consistency, like I said, some tips to kind of stay consistent all links back to that picking the right training program and setting manageable goals or realistic goals. So I'd love to be the fastest marathon runner in the world. I'm not going to be. Got to be realistic. So it's like, can I get under 3:30? Can I get close to 3:15? Stuff like that. They're realistic for me. And then you do that, you find out what the time is, you probably have a few home truths with yourself, and then you set the next goal. I want to get under 3, and you go from there. So set manageable goals. So say to yourself that I'd love to run 5 days a week, but I'll be really happy with myself if I run 4 days, and stick to it. Build up, but like I said, with the mileage, build up with, like, time on your feet, build up with all of that, and make them manageable. Don't set yourself up to fail, because then that will affect you going out and your motivation, and you won't be consistent, and all of those things flood into it. And some of these things I've already spoken about before in previous episodes, but using your Strava, joining, like, the run club if you wanted to, looking at the data on, like, your Garmin or your Coros app and stuff like that, using all those apps as not potentially like competition for you to go against anyone else, but motivation. And the brain is so good at, like, forgetting what it did a week before, and you're just like, oh, I'm not making any progress. And you look at your mileage for last week and you're like, actually, I'm 5-10k more than I was. Oh, happy days. Use all those to track your progress, increase your motivation, help any of that demotivation or those down days that you're having, build in some rest days, which I think 95% of people do. Well, some people don't. God, I don't know where that yawn came from. Most people don't, unfortunately. People say, oh, I'm just having a rest day and I'm going to go cycle 120k. It's not really a rest day, but whatever floats your boat. But yeah, do the rest days. It's not about like having a lazy day and sitting on the sofa and smashing 10,000 calories worth of Dominoes. It's about, still eating right, maybe treating yourself and, just chilling out, just enjoy it. Maybe stretch and just chill out, enjoy it. Because probably the day after or the day after that, you're back to it and you're slogging it out in the rain. And probably the last tip is always something I always plug is like the Strava or run club. Not even the run club, just like getting some virtual mates on Strava where you can look at, their times, their routes, speak to them, get some advice, even join like a physical run club in like your local area. There's loads advertising on Facebook and stuff. Just get yourself out there and make sure you're talking to them, and like, if you've got any concerns, make sure you're raising it with them or asking them about it, and, use them run clubs to like validate that you're actually doing a good thing. You've got out of the house, you're running, you're exercising, and that's the main thing. A lot of people just are so focused on, I want to run a 25-minute 10k, and it's just like, let's just enjoy that you can be on your feet and you're happy and you've got people around you that want to be with you and stuff like that. Like I said, I know that was a bit of a whistle stop tour on why new runners quit, but it's just something that I think, like I said at the start, we always talk about the positives, and I've tried to turn some of those things into positives. But if you're out there and you've just started running, please don't quit now. Use all of that as like, no, I'm actually doing good and I'm going to stick at it. So if anyone's got any topics that they want me to talk about on other podcasts in the future, then please let me know. I've got a list. I've just created like a new list of about 12 topics to talk about. So there's plenty more content coming. Please subscribe to the YouTube. People are going mad for the shorts and now watching the long form content as well, which is great. Please join the Strava Run Club. Please like, share, comment, follow, whatever else there is on Instagram and TikTok. Let your mates know, let your parents know, let your bloody dog know. I'm happy, whoever joins. Thank you for the support so far. Thank you for anyone who's commented and anyone who's liked or followed any of the profiles and stuff. Really appreciate it. The podcast is like slowly growing now, which I'll take. And yeah, apart from that, I will see you on the next one.